We have an amazing team of creatives, and it starts from a group chat often. It's me, Shar, Jess, Victoria. And it's literally jokes. Like we would just throw out there like, oh, wouldn't this be funny? Like the Drewski thing, wouldn't this be funny? And then
and then it becomes a thing.
It becomes a thing.
Start looking into it. Actually.
Yeah, actually.
On the idea.
Actually. Or like the different sororities and fraternities. And like, I remember like pulling those off of TikTok and sending them to Shar myself. Like, can you just do the same thing? And we sent like the whole carousel to Victoria. She's like, this is great. Let's put this up. But that all comes from that brain trust of like the four of us. But Victoria is an active participant in that. She's not the person that you make all the ideas and you bring them to her and then she just, is just putting it out. And so that was important for me for the label to feel. But yeah, you have to beg. I had to beg.
Can I ask what that's like? Because to my knowledge, I don't know of a full team of women in the C-suite. Like, I mean, all making the decisions.
Wow.
Yeah. Am I wrong in that?
I'm thinking about it now that I'm like, I don't think there is.
And I could be wrong, but like, I really do feel like in many ways it's uncharted territory, and it is what you guys are doing, which is amazing. Talk to me.
It was Kismet, I think.
Okay.
For sure. Like, it's so hard to find a creative. And when I first started working with Victoria, that was like my priority too. After the music, it was like the creative has to set you apart.
Yeah.
And it has to be different from anything you've ever done. It needs to be elevated. It needs to be like, you work with directors that are borderline like film, like just texture and like, what can we do that would set you apart from your peers? Valentine Petit was a perfect example of that. He did the Moment video. He had never done R&B video before.
Okay.
He had done I basically stalked this man. R.I.P. to Valentine. Not from me, but he passed away. But I literally went on Vimeo and I was just digging. I honestly don't even remember how I found him and Anton Tammi. That's funny because Anton is now like the Weeknd's guy. And at the time he hadn't done one video for the Weeknd.
Oh, wow.
And I remember just going through and finding like different music videos, and Anton's was first for a group called Jill. I don't know. It was like some Swedish thing.
Okay.
And he had all of these crazy transitions, and I was trying to find something for Moment because it felt so cinematic. And that was Tim and Dima. And I was like, this is the perfect way to create like this new world, this new era, mark this new era at the top of the year. We have to have like the right video to do it. And Anton, I eventually got in touch with. He came over my apartment. Victoria was there. We all met. And that's when he told us like, man, like, I think I might have something with Abel. And we didn't know it at the time, but that was him going off to do Blinding Lights. So he had met with us right before he was about to go shoot that. And of course, the rest is history there. He was busy man.
Yeah.
To do that whole rollout. And Valentine, I could not get in touch with him to save my life. I reached out to Division Paris, was the agency in France, and it was like, oh yeah, he's not going to do it. But I also felt like a bit of a chip on my shoulder because I'm like, oh, they're looking at the other videos and they don't think that she's capable of making this incredible like art piece for whatever reason. And I was like, no, like I'm going to find a way to him. And I kept looking. And eventually I go back on his Vimeo and I find his producer, Jermaine. And I reach out to him. And that was his in-house producer. So it was outside of the agency.
Smart.
And he's like,
that's the person you have to connect with. Yeah.
That was the person. And he was like, this is cool. It was like, tell me more. So we send the song. He initially does a treatment. Victoria doesn't like it. But they like have a conversation. There's a bit of a language barrier, obviously, because of French. And eventually it gets to a place where she's like, okay, like, let's do this. But where are we going to shoot it? Because he had the idea of like going through, like figuring out how like the camera would work for transitions. The reason why I wanted to use one of those two directors is because Victoria specifically had the idea of like, I want the video to feel like if you were high and like making love to somebody.
Okay.
Like it's that, because that's what the song is about, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, I want that to be visually represented. And I'm looking and I see Anton has like all the same, like the transitions going through. It's weird. It's like experimental, but he's busy. Valentine had just done a video for A$AP Ferg. And it was this crazy like BMX, like what's nuts is it actually was like a BMX bike product placement commercial, but it was for him as an artist. So it was a single, and I'm looking and I'm like, yo, this is like some Dexter Navy, like cool shit, where like it started out, if you watch it, it's amazing. It starts out like goes through the cup into a different world. And I was like, this is the guy. He's already doing it, but he's doing it for rappers. We just need him to do it for her.
Yeah.
And I would get excited because I'm like, I've never seen that in R&B. I've never seen somebody do that, and now we have to do it. So anyway, we fast forward. He's talking about his treatment. Victoria loves it. She's down. And Jermaine comes back and he's like, all right, well, for this budget, we need to shoot in South Africa.
What? Okay.
The whole video costs less than $100,000. That sounds like, well, less than, like only. When you watch that video, there's no way you could do that video now for less than that. Especially going to South Africa.
That's like crazy amount of favors, and even then.
Their idea was we want it to be different worlds, literally, so different scenes. So if you watch, it's like them in the middle of a field. Then it's them underneath this tree somewhere completely separate. Then it's them like in the house. Then it's like it's going all the way around to like this platform in the middle of this water by the ocean. Like we figure out a way to give her what she wanted initially, which was like traveling through all these worlds and having this transcendent experience. And Valentine still got out his artistic vision.
Yes.
But that was like I forgot why we were talking about
women. The executives, all women.
Oh, yeah.
This happens.
Oh, yeah, I know.
This happens in these conversations.
Yeah. So, sorry. So going
No, don't apologize, man. I love that. I love all this. This is great.
Shar actually was our creative director in-house at Platoon. And the first time we had that meeting with the distributor, we were like, I feel like you speak my language. I feel like we hit it off. And it's interesting because that does not happen. Having an in-house creative at any of these companies like that is virtually impossible. Like, I think I know just about the majority of them. And like, I can maybe name one other label that has that renowned, but she was like a diamond in the rough. And we clicked immediately. She liked the music. She got along with me and Vic. We had a different creative director in terms of like assets that we tried to bring in, and that didn't really work out. It wasn't like a personality fit. And our social media person at the time was like, oh, I think I know somebody, like she works with me. And that was Jess. And we meet Jess and her personality fits, and she starts sending over assets. I'm like, ooh, we like, this is cool. We got the art director that makes all this stuff. We've got Shar as the creative director who also can edit and like animate and do all types of stuff. And then me and Vic. And it's just, very organic. And it is.
And people ain't getting paid like.
No.
It's just on the love at the.
Right.
No. And I think that's the thing that like, it makes me emotional even now because I'm so grateful to have them. Like Shar and Jess are like the unsung heroes of Team Victoria Monet, in my opinion, because without the creative being right, that's the vehicle that makes everyone else care. If the creative ain't right, the song could be cool, but it's like, like you don't really know if you want to go to a show or watch the music video because it's not right.
So important.
So that is one of the like, we are very lucky. I don't know anybody else that has that. I pray that it's always like that because it's just like the chemistry and understanding and being able to find that and find people that are willing to grind when there is no money.
Yes. Super.
Is like
underrated.
Yeah. To me, it's there's something like special about being in it with people before it was popular. And everybody is putting in 1 million hours, blood, sweat, and tears. They're down to have the conversations. It doesn't matter if you can't really pay for it right now. Like, they were in for the long haul.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like the most rewarding thing should always be like, if those people were there from the beginning, when you get to that level of success, you keep going with those people because they invested, and sweat equity is a real thing.
Sweat equity is the most important.
It's the most important thing. I'm like, it's cute now if you want to come around when it's all popping, but like the people that were there when it wasn't cute, when it wasn't lucrative, I'm like, those are the people you take care of and you look after because 100%. They put in the work.
100%. And they also are, when you change a very important piece to the puzzle like that, if say, managers, for example, this shit happens all the time.
All the time.
Artist gets on, the world starts to know him, manager gets let go. 9 times out of 10, guess what happens with that artist? This shit goes 9 times out of 10, not always. It goes left. It doesn't feel the same. It doesn't work the same because there's this thing that we have in this business that I think the general public doesn't know. To your point, the unsung heroes, and you're that as well, obviously, as a manager, and they don't understand. Yes, it's the artist that's forward facing, but there's a brain trust, to your point.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of conversation that happens behind the scenes, but you only get the 2.5 to 3.5 minute song, video, and you get the performance. But everything else that's happening behind the scenes is a core group of individuals that are super in sync, super connected, know each other really well, and are a culture fit to one another.
Yeah.
When you remove one piece of that, that rocks a foundation.
Yeah.
And so to know that, I think that's important for all artists and managers that come into this business. Even the creators, don't think that when you get on, that superstar manager is going to be able to super serve you as an artist. It's not the case, because that artist manager that all of a sudden, like, you know what, I think I can, and especially if things are going amazing.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
Like, you don't want to get rid of that team because that other artist manager might be great in their own right, but plucking that person and bringing them in, first of all, they already got the horse that they rode in on. So they're,
there's nothing to prove.
What's that?
There's nothing to prove.
Not to prove.
I think the thing that's interesting is, like, I like to think of it as not being on. It's just like, oh, the light's on. Like, you're not really. I look at Vic and I'm like, to me, she hasn't broken yet, because there's still so much that we have to do. Okay. You know what I mean? I'm like, I think that she's like broken into consciousness.
That's funny you say that.
Like,
I asked Jesse that.
You know what I mean? I'm like, people know you now.
Yeah.
But it's like, she's a superstar, and there's no stopping until you become a superstar. Like, there's still so much to do. So it's an interesting thing. I think when people even talk to me now, they're like, oh, like, what's it like to, like, I'm like, I have not made it. I have not made it yet.
I'm gonna tell you that the people do not think that.
That's so crazy.
But because you're in the middle of the storm.
Yeah.
And you guys all know, like, this is great. We had a great moment.
Yeah.
At the Grammys, for example, Best New Artist.
Huge. And massive. I'm very grateful for that.
For sure.
By the way. It's not to say that. It's just like a.
But you wake up the next day and you're like,
I think about the binder. And like, there's so much. And I'm like, when I see, every single time I see Victoria perform, I'm like, she has to be in stadiums.
Yes.
Has to be in stadiums. And that is like the thing for me.
That's breaking.
That is the thing for me. It's like when you see people sobbing, singing the songs back. When we were in London for All Points East Festival, there were 30,000 people that were all yelling on my mama. Like, that feeling of that many people in another country, I'm like, oh, more of that. More of that. Because that's like, people are willing to spend the money to come see you.
Yeah.
That's like the real sign to me, is like the live show.
Yeah.
If you can, like,
people are taking money out of,
taking money out, time out of their day,
bringing people
to the show, buying the merch at the show.
Yeah.
and they leave and they're talking about you. Like, that's the most valuable marketing, always. Still to this day. Like, that to me is the place that's where she's going. I just think that for me. So in terms of like when people get on and then they switch up and all of that stuff, that's just like, it's devastating for me to like see that happen, because I know that artist will never know all of the things that that team did. Not just the manager, but like the creative director, the art director, the like anyone that's been rocking with you from jump. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I feel like now that the lights are on, I'm like, cool, let the entire team shine. Like, elevate that team.